a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
A half-blood of the eldest gods shall listen to this bonus show against all odds.
I'm Charlie from Cabin 13.
And I'm Ray from Cabin 12.
Woo! You remembered your cabin.
Well, it's on the script, so it's not that impressive.
This is the first time you're actually reading from a script. I'm so proud of you.
Aw. So, we read the most classic of classics, I think possible.
Well, I mean, it's like the original story. I'm pretty sure. The oldest story.
Which makes sense to me. It does. Just going through it.
Oh.
Well, no, I mean, like... I don't know, like, how you want to structure this episode exactly, but, like, just reading through it, there's a kind of purity. Like, despite the fact that there's, like, a shit ton of sex and violence in it.
Yeah.
There's, like, this innocence to the storytelling. It's like shonen anime on steroids.
Oh my god, is there a shonen about the Epic of Gilgamesh?
I mean, they're basically all the Epic of Gilgamesh a little bit, but...
I want to know, is there anything that's like a good adaptation of Gilgamesh? At me, if you've ever heard of a good adaptation. My goodness. So yeah, that's what we read. We read the Epic of Gilgamesh. We both read the I sent you the version.
Yeah, you sent me the right translation. I may have not exactly purchased the translation.
Oh.
But I did read the one you sent me, so...
That's fine. It's okay. We read it translated by Stephen Mitchell because that is the version that I read when I was in college. And it's slightly nostalgic for me. I really wanted to get that version again, and this is my excuse to rebuy it because
I see.
I took it out. And I didn't, like, purchase it, and I didn't know I would get so attached to the story and want it.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah, I love Gilgamesh. It's a weird one.
It sure is,
fun.
but... So I didn't read the historical context stuff because I've been going through it and I was not feeling up to it. But...
You're valid. Like, some of it was
really enjoyed
context, and then some of it was just, like, reiterating everything that happened in the entire thing. It's just, like, I read the introduction and I'm like, oh, wait, Ray, maybe you shouldn't read this yet. Because it just, like, tells you everything that happens. But yeah. But
I found the translation very easy to read, so I think it was probably a good one. Like, very accessible.
That's why I like it. Yeah.
Did you say what it was? I think that you did, but for anyone who didn't hear it, it's like a new translation by Stephen Mitchell.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I do have, like, my gripes about one particular book of it, but, you know, it's just because, you know, it's a poem, it's not really a poem, but it's got, like, the poem elements of it.
Yeah,
where
I'd say it's a
poem.
Repeats. Yeah.
It's, it's an epic, so I guess that classifies as a poem? Yes?
Yeah.
It's been
Epic
a while
poetry.
since
That's
I took my English classes, okay? But yeah, there was just that one book where everything just repeats constantly, and I was like, I can't read this.
I don't even know which one you're talking about. There's quite a few where there's some sections.
Especially, like, the entire thing was just, like, repeated every 5 seconds, and I'm like,
so
okay.
From what I understand, that sort of refrain is helpful for oral traditions.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because the speaking of the story having patterns to it helps you remember it easier. And so then
Yeah.
it kind of, has a cadence as you're speaking it out, which is why it's poetry.
Makes sense.
Right. I was also thinking, we do the same thing in horror stories specifically, like campfire horror, where it's like you'll have like a thing that happens 3 times and you'll say it the same every time, and it's like ramping up to like whatever the reveal is. And so I don't know. I feel like that's interesting that kind of tradition like lives on in its own sort of way in a modern context.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are we covering this specifically for June? I mean, it's May right now, but we're covering this for Pride Month. It be gay. Yeah. If you're not aware, Gilgamesh and Enkidu, the original gay ship.
Well, no, I mean, like, it's okay. I guess without having read the historical context, I can't say how much actually textual it is, because, you know, they go around sleeping with the ladies, as you do. But also, the line specifically is when they're in the repeated refrain, when they're talking about how Enkidu will be such a good friend for Gilgamesh, it's always like, and you will lie with him as you would a woman. And
yeah. I'm sorry.
That's part of the lines.
To be Gilgamesh's soulmate. Like, that's what he was made to be specifically.
Yeah, he's the other half of his soul. Yeah. Textually. And they do, like, oh my god, okay, so Gilgamesh is the son of a goddess, and so he's like two-thirds god,
divine.
Is what they say.
Okay, I don't know how the math works out. I don't understand that math because like,
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I've thought about this too much. That's the problem. I think I tried to work it out in my head that it's like he has his mom who's a goddess, his dad who's technically human but becomes a god, and also it says somewhere that his body was like sculpted by a goddess, and I think at one point in my head I was like, oh, so he has 3 parents maybe? I don't know if that's what they were trying to say, but that's just how I started thinking about that. Maybe that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so he's like the perfect man. He's the king of the walled city of, what is it? Uruk. And they keep talking about how big and beefy and beautiful he is. And then the gods make Enkidu in the woods to be raised by animals to be like the perfect big and beefy boy also.
Well, it's not that Gilgamesh is perfect, big, and beefy. It's also that he's an asshole.
Oh like, my god, yeah. What a
it's
dick.
Explicitly stated that he's such
he's
dick.
A tyrant. And then, like, never addressed. I don't, like, okay, I'm gonna assume that
with a woman, like, before her husband can do so?
Yeah, no, they're like, Gilgamesh will, steal your children. And it's like, oh, okay, and we're all fine with this? Like, what? But I don't know
what the text said, but it was basically like all of the women kind of belong to Gilgamesh.
Oh, yes,
like,
yes.
All of their
so I'm thinking of a different
words.
line than when they're talking about how Gilgamesh will lay with your wife on your wedding day before you get to.
Yeah. God.
Anyways, what I was kind of getting towards was that it keeps talking about how much Gilgamesh and Enkidu hold hands, and I'm so charmed by these big, beefy, hairy boys just wandering around holding hands.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not... Some things that I know about, like, the story are not said in the text, but, like, in, like, imagery and art, also Enkidu is, like, a wild man that sometimes is, like, horned or something. Like...
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, you could think of just 2, like, big men, but also think of, like, one of them as being, like, anthropomorphized, kind of, like, furry man.
Okay. So here's my first issue with the text of Gilgamesh.
Oh.
Okay, no, my first issue with the text of Gilgamesh is the fact that Gilgamesh is a tyrant and a dick and no one cares, because he's, like, big and beefy, and everybody's like, that's good.
They do care. That's why they make Enkidu. They're just like, no, we need to make somebody to tame this man. I'm sorry, wait. Is Enkidu, like, I'm forgetting words at this moment, and it's so wonderful. God, is he the Manic Pixie Dream Girl? Is that what Enkidu?
Holy shit! Oh my god, okay.
Because he's there to change Gilgamesh.
Literally, in the text, yes. 100%. Yes. That is the use of Enkidu in this narrative. Like, because I keep being like, damn, Enkidu sure gets the short end of the stick, huh? Nobody ever cares about what Enkidu wants to do, huh? Like, Gilgamesh is just in charge, I guess. But it's because he's his manic pixie dream girl, who's just supposed to, like, be his, like, stalwart companion.
Yeah.
And make him a better person, I guess. I don't know that works. It never really comes back.
Yeah, we don't really get back to, like, how Gilgamesh leads his people. Like,
no, not at all.
Like, Enkidu comes, and then, like, they focus on heroic exploits.
Okay. Getting back to my second issue with the text. So some trapper sees this wild man who lives with the animals and like sets them free of the traps and is like really scary, and he's like, damn, I need somebody to get rid of this guy. Like, what am I supposed to do about this? He's like big.
Yeah.
And so he goes and gets a priestess who lays with any man in service of the goddess. That's their job.
Yeah.
So, like, good for them, I guess. Like, she
like,
seems to have no issues with it, so, like, sure.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, historical context thing where, like, that's what they did. In the intro, he was like, well, like, there's not really a great translation word for what this is. Like, she's a priestess, but she's also a prostitute, but she's not really a prostitute. So, like, there's not quite a good word for what she is, but priestess, I think, would be the closest there. So that's just what they do. They lie with people because they serve like the goddess of like sex.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. But yeah, so he's like, hey, come fuck this guy. And she's like, okay, cool. He's pretty big.
Also, wait, does that mean that, well, her name is Shamat. Does that mean that Shamat is the manic pixie dream girl for Enkidu?
Okay.
Because
Shamat is all like, so I'm just gonna lay here and be enticing, and Enkidu's like, I'm enticed. And then they fuck for like 7 days, and then he's like, wait, I can no longer go back to the animals. I've been civilized. I know new things now. And it's like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, no, they
fucking
fucked,
did it,
and now he can understand human speech.
I don't think that's... The animals also fuck, guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but animals be fucking.
Yes, but okay. Interpret it this way as, like, how humans fuck is just, like, so different from how animals fuck.
It really ain't. It ain't.
Are you sure?
Bro, sounds like they were just fucking and trucking for 7 days. Like, I don't think there's anything civilized about that.
I never said it was civilized. I just said that how humans fuck is weird compared to how animals fuck.
Okay, I mean, well, depends on if you go in doggy style or not, I guess, but like...
Yeah. Also depends if you're a duck or not.
Like, I mean, I'm sure animals are getting up to from some freaky shit depending on species, but I would not say that the human way is, like, unique in any capacity.
Not civilized. It's definitely not civilized.
Yeah, the idea that makes his brain growth resizes is, like, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's like the Grinch, but with his brain, because he got fucked.
Yeah. But Shamat's good at fucking, so...
Oh my god, yeah, love that girl. That's her only role in this story, and, like, I love her for it. Well, okay, wait. She also bathes him and gives him clothing. And
sends him over to...
Someone cuts his hair.
I don't know, because I don't remember if somebody does cut his hair, but also all of his body hair gets, like, shorter because he was all furry like an animal. I feel like that was mentioned. And so I think that just happens, but I'm not actually sure.
Of course it does. What happened to this beautiful furry man?
Right? How dare they take him from the wild where he belongs? But yeah, like, you know, she does help him out quite a bit and, like, give him advice of where to go and what to do. So...
You know what
I love about this
like
is she's all like, you should go talk to Gilgamesh. Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna fight that guy.
She's the mentor figure setting him on his quest.
Yeah, she's Gandalf, but if Gandalf was a sexy lady who fucks so hard.
Okay. So So, you met Christina. She dressed up as Gandalf at one point with, like, fishnets. Like, that was, like, her sexy Halloween costume. Yeah, she's made TikToks like that.
Oh, good. Oh, my God.
So that's what I'm imagining when you say sexy Gandalf. Shamat, sexy Gandalf.
Yeah. Late. I don't know how chronologically you want to go through this. I don't even know how long we're going to do this
gripes? You were going through your gripes so, like, meticulously. Well, or was that it?
Those were probably the major ones. Like, I do think the latter part of the story is really interesting. But yeah those were my major gripes.
It gets pretty existential at the end there.
Yeah, it does. It's very interesting.
That's why
But I just wanted to mention that later, Enkidu is, like, cursing Shamat for bringing him into civilization, and then
one thing
they're
I
all
don't
like, but she, like, helped you out a lot, and you never would have met Gilgamesh if she hadn't done that. And then he's like, right, please bless her, actually, and make it so that all the guys love her and treat her super well and bring her riches. And I don't know, I'm not too mad about that or whatever. I just think that that's funny.
Like, it annoyed me at first. I'm just like, wait, when did he curse her? And then it's like, oh, okay. She introduced me to my boyfriend, so, like, I'm not gonna curse her.
Yeah. Yeah, they love each other so much. Like,
they really do. Okay,
so
Enkidu and Gilgamesh forever.
So Enkidu shows up in town during a wedding, and Gilgamesh is gonna go have sex with the bride, and Enkidu's like, no, you ain't. And he's standing outside like, I'm gonna go have sex with her. And then they fight, and Gilgamesh wins, but, like, afterwards they just, like, clasp hands, and they're like, actually, this is it from now on. This is all I need.
This is an anime fight. This is, like, straight out of an anime. Like, you fight each other, and then you, like, gain respect of each other and become besties.
Yeah,
but,
no,
like,
that's what I'm saying. This is, like, the purest form of, like, hyper-masculine, homoerotic, like...
But that's the thing. Enkidu didn't even win the fight. Gilgamesh did win.
And it's because Gilgamesh has, like, Mary Sue, like, main character energy.
Yeah.
He's just the most specialist boy. Like, we spend a lot of time introducing Enkidu and going through his whole thing, and then it's just like, Gilgamesh beat him in a fight, and now he's just, like, Gilgamesh's sidekick. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
It's good. It's fine.
But what I also like about this form of hypermasculinity is that it's also a very emotional hypermasculinity. Like, these guys openly love each other. They are holding hands. They are feeling afraid about stuff. They are tearing up all the time. They are sorrowful. Like,
they tell each other about their dreams. They do dream interpretation.
Like I'm saying, there's something very pure about this.
Like, God, like, best friendship, if you want good example of, like, male friendships, read the Epic of Gilgamesh. Because they're toxic men, but they're also, like, not when in their friendship, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I can't talk about how I love this, but you know what I mean. I love it.
Yeah.
They're so good.
So they are best friends now, and Gilgamesh wants to go fight a big monster, and Enkidu is like, don't do that! I don't want us to, it's scary!
Yeah. Okay, wait. I just which one is the one that annoys me so much? Maybe it's book 4 that annoys me so much.
Oh, so, yeah.
So basically they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna defeat this monster. Why? Just because. Just like
Gilgamesh really wants to. He thinks it would be super cool.
Like,
and
it's all the
Enkidu's
evil
like
in the world or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Gilgamesh's character arc is learning about consequences and death. And so at the beginning here, Gilgamesh is like, well, like, I don't see any reason to be scared. Like, if we die, then we die. Everybody's going to at some point. Like, that's not an issue for me. Like, I just want to go fight a big monster. adventure. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
This is one of those things. I can't tell if Gilgamesh is like Gryffindor or Slytherin. Like it really depends on what mood he's in sometimes. Because he's like, so I will go into any like thing and like do it, but also he's like, I don't know, his assholishness and how he rules his kingdom gives me Slytherin vibes.
I would say that Gilgamesh is a Gryffindor who's just full of himself. Like,
Maybe.
I think that is an aspect of Gryffindor. Like,
You know, maybe it's
I
just
don't
James
think that
Potter
he
energy.
connived for his place. You know, it's something that was given to him.
Yeah.
Like, that's not Slytherin. to
Okay,
me.
you know what? I'm just reading it as James Potter energy. I think that's what it is. He's just the asshole who hasn't had his character arc yet, and Enkidu is his Lily. I apologize for bringing the Harry Potter into it, but I had to. So book 4 is the one that annoys me so much just because like everything is like the same except for like a few lines.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a
the
lot of
first-
dreams.
This is the first of the dream interpretation chapters. But like it's the big one where it's just like Gilgamesh is having dreams and Enkidu is interpreting them, and it just like
Right.
yeah.
So
it's weird.
they walk this far, which is it would have taken 6 weeks for a normal man to walk that far,
But it
and
took
then
them 3
they
days.
pray for dreams, and they do their sacrifice of flour, and then they lay down and
Yeah.
and Enkidu wraps up Gilgamesh and then sits at the entrance of their
tucks
sleeping
him
area.
in. It's so cute.
To protect him. And then Gilgamesh falls asleep on his knees, resting his head on his knees every time.
That's so
and
weird.
Then he has a dream. And then every time that he has his dream, he's all like, Enkidu, I had the worst dream yet. What could it possibly mean? And Enkidu's like, calm down. It meant that we're going to succeed because the gods will be with us. That happens like 5 or 6 times. That's it.
Yeah. And like, okay, every single time but one time he's just like, oh yeah, like it's because the Lord Shamash, who is the sun god and is like Gilgamesh's patron god, from what I can tell. He's the reason that they're gonna win. And then the one other time he says it's Lugalbanda, who is Gilgamesh's dad, who became a god.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. That like the one time you mentioned daddy. I don't know why.
But also, Enkidu is like never in the dreams, and I'm like,
No.
he's
It's
here
always,
too.
like- Honestly, it's always like very weirdly interpreted. It's like this
Oh yeah, they are.
this rock fell on me. Oh, that means we're gonna win. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like, okay, are you sure, Enkidu? It kind of sounds like you're trying to make him feel better.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, because Gilgamesh is like, I'm not afraid of anything. Has a bad dream. Enkidu!
And Enkidu's like,
My
I
boy.
got you, babe.
My boys. Yeah, so, they fight Humbaba in the Cedar Forest, which is
Right.
like,
Cedar is very important, apparently.
yeah, like every time they have cedar stuff, it's always capitalized. That's how you know it's important. But I think the Cedar Forest is like a place of the gods.
Okay.
But like, it confuses me because I'm like, is that the land of the gods? But no, he goes to a different land of the gods later in the story. So I don't know
I think
if these
Cedar
are like
is just
two different.
like, I think
Yeah.
cedars are just like weird and magic, and it's just like a big special forest, because they said that like Enkidu also lived near there
Yeah,
when he was a wild man.
I've done like research trying to like figure out some of these things where I'm like, I don't know which is the Cedar Forest like a land of the gods, but I think it's supposed to be because Humbaba was created by the gods. And it's a weird
seems
thing.
like, you know, like I don't think it needs to be like on a different plane or whatever. I think that
Yeah.
sometimes a big forest is just fucked up.
Yeah, it's fine. They went into the forest, they beat the big bad wolf, except
So thing
not.
number 1, I love the name Humbaba. That's so good.
yeah.
Thing number 2, so as they're fighting this thing, it tells them that it's gonna beat them up, but then they beat it up, and then it's all like, so if you kill me, it's gonna be so bad for you. Like, please don't. And he specifically says, hey, Gilgamesh, if you do this, then your best friend is going to die terribly, and you will weep and travel around in a lion's skin.
Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't come to happen until a little bit later, but, like, still, Gilgamesh, don't do it.
So, as far as I can tell, all of this that Gilgamesh goes through at the end is his own doing. It's the result of his own actions. Because
everything he does is his own
and
fault.
Enkidu didn't want to come and do this at all. So if Gilgamesh could have just left well enough alone and not tried to, like, step on the god's domain, like, everything would have been fine for him.
I mean, I will say, like, the whole reason Enkidu exists is because the gods created him to change Gilgamesh. Like I said, to make him his manic pixie dream girl. Like, and Enkidu does that, but, like, it takes the whole fucking story for Gilgamesh to, like, actually change.
Which, like, I mean, if that's the point, then good job, I guess.
Yeah, but he got fucked up in the process, like,
yeah,
so
he's traumatized now.
Another fun fact, so Humbaba, I believe, is actually one of the constellations. The Mesopotamian constellations. I'm not sure if it's like a specific area there, but like, I want to say our version of like the lion constellation was Humbaba, like, for them.
Cool.
The Greeks did some, localizing of the Mesopotamian constellations. So that's a fun one. Also, like, the Bull of Heaven comes up, and that's also a constellation.
That also makes sense to me.
So they killed the monster, and then they go home, and, like, immediately, Ishtar, oh my goodness.
Girl, can you chill?
She's just like, hey, you're hot, Gilgamesh, marry me, fuck me, I will give you everything. Like, literally anything you want, I will give it to you. Just, like, be mine.
And he's like, so I have actually heard about you, and that sounds like a terrible idea.
Well, first he's like, no thank you, I don't want that. And then he's like, because you sucked to all of, like, the people you were ever with.
Like, there's, like, another, like, 5 or 6, like, stories that he tells about just dudes that had a real bad time, got turned into random small animals, or killed, or... So because she gets tired of them eventually. Of course she does. She's a goddess. What else is she gonna do?
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of context here. So Ishtar, also known as Inanna, is like the queen of heaven. She's kind of like queen of the gods, except like there are also some gods higher than her. It's a whole thing. But she is Aphrodite. Like she is. Okay. So I don't know if it's necessarily like a theory at this point. I think it's just like generally believed that like Ishtar's cult moved to the Greeks and then became Aphrodite.
Okay.
Yeah. So like she's a goddess of like love, sex, beauty. Shamat is one of her priestesses. Like It's like she's a very important goddess. And one of her lovers that's mentioned here, Tammuz. So her story with him is like very important to like the seasons. Like their story kind of is a Hades and Persephone tale. Because he I think he dies. And she has to go and get him from the underworld. From her sister, Ereshkigal, queen of the underworlds. And, like, there ends up being, like, this whole deal that, like, he has to stay there for some of the year. And I think his sister stays there, when he's not there. But, yeah, he's like a whole dying and rising god type figure.
Okay.
Last fun fact for you. If you've heard the whole tale about Pan, the great god Pan is dead, and that whole mistranslation. Indeed. Have you heard the mistranslation thing?
Not really. Probably at some point, but I'm not sure what you're referring to, so.
So like, the translation about, like, Pan being dead, it's like, oh, the great god Pan is dead, but, and they were talking to this guy, Tammuz. But actually, the correct translation is, like, Tammuz the All-Great is dead, which means that it's a certain time of year when Tammuz is in the underworld. It has nothing to do with Pan. Pan also means all, remember?
Oh. I think I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I I always have to bring that up whenever Tammuz and Pan are mentioned in anything. I just love that. But we can continue with Gilgamesh. Technically, yeah, he wasn't actually a scorned lover necessarily. Like, he does come back every so often. They're still married. They're still cute. But in this story, I guess Gilgamesh is like, nah, you let him die sometimes, so you suck. You suck ass. Oh god.
And she is like so upset. She's like, how dare this mortal slander me?
Like, Daddy, help me out here. Give me the full of heaven so I can kill Gilgamesh. Literally. Like,
yeah.
My god, this girl.
And her dad is like, well, it'll cost 7 years of famine. Did you set aside 7 years of grain for all the people? And she's like, of course I did that, Daddy. I'm not an idiot. And he's like, okay, you can have the bowl, I guess.
It's such a thing.
And like, I was under the impression when she was saying that she like definitely didn't. And she's just like, Daddy, of course I did. But it doesn't come back, so...
It's not important. What's important is that Gilgamesh immediately killed the bull. It takes 2 seconds. He rips out his heart and offers it to
after
Shamash.
it shits all over Enkidu.
Oh, right. Yeah. Listen, I forgot that because I didn't want to remember that. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. They beat it. Oh, Gilgamesh is the handsomest of men. Enkidu's the bravest of heroes. It's wonderful. And then then Enkidu starts having his terrible dreams again.
Poor
He's gonna
guy.
die. He's gonna die. This is the kill your gaze trope.
Starting at the very first story.
It's so bad. How dare they bury the gaze? Yeah.
So Enkidu's on his deathbed, basically. He's, like, having terrible dreams and doing real bad, and he's like, damn it. Okay. And he's, like, cursing people and then, like, changing his mind about it, you know.
It's fun that we kind of get, like, a flip of, like, the last time they had dreams, where this one... Enkidu's like, oh, I had a terrible dream, it's so bad, and Gilgamesh is like, no, it's fine, it'll be great, like, you know, there's nothing wrong here.
But this time it's definitely not fine.
Yeah, I love that kind of flip thing going on there, but it's not great. He gonna die, and then he died. And we already mentioned the whole, like, just the cursing of Shamat. That's just, like, weird, but it's fine.
It's fine. He was going through it. I'm not mad at him.
He's like, oh, I'm mad at my ex. Wait, my ex introduced me to my new boyfriend. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I would be mad at him if he left the curse, but he reversed it. So, like, it's, you know,
like,
we all go through it sometimes.
One flaw of character is that you cursed Shamat for 2 seconds, my girl.
I think he left the curse that he put on the trapper, though. The hunter who found him in the first place.
Honestly, that guy's a dick. How dare he? Like, thank you for introducing Enkidu to Shamat and then Gilgamesh, but, like, Enkidu was also perfect the way he was. Like, perfect furry man. Leave him alone.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, so Gilgamesh, he be crying. He's mourning.
He makes a very cool statue.
I love that! So good. Cover his beard with lapis lazuli, his chest with gold. Ah! It's so pretty. I want to see that statue.
And he didn't, if I was understanding correctly, I'm pretty sure that he put the statue in a throne next to his throne so that everyone could come by and kiss its feet. Like... Yeah.
And now he's gonna roam the wilderness with matted hair and a lion skin? I'm sorry. Heracles, step aside. Gilgamesh did it first.
Yeah, for real.
My boy.
So he decides, like, nothing's working. I'm really upset. I gotta go see if there's anything I can do about this. So he's looking for his ancestor who became immortal to ask if there's anything he can do.
Yeah. I also love the part that he arrived at the Twin Peaks. Anyway. That's a TV show I've never seen, but I thought that was funny. That was
God.
Like, I think it's funny that was like capitalized Twin Peaks, and I'm like, what? Anyway. So he travels, he meets some scorpion people, they tell him where to go, and he keeps walking.
Okay. So, at the Twin Peaks.
Scary place that he went.
Yeah, at the Twin Peaks with the scorpion people, they're all like, damn, bro, you look like shit. He's like, okay, so here's the situation. And they're like, well, it doesn't sound like a good idea, but what I guess you can do is go into the sun cave back here. Only when the sun is out of it, though. If the sun is in there, then you will be scorched to death immediately, so you have 12 hours. But if you run the whole way, then, like, you should be able to make it to the other side into, like, the god's domain, basically.
My god, it's just...
Okay, and so since he has 12 hours, there's a refrain that tells us about every 2 hours and how he's running, and it's dark in front of him and behind him and to both sides. It's very dark.
Yeah, like,
and
it's
I'm
dark,
like,
and
this is just like the
8th
Magnus
hour,
Archives.
In the 8th hours, when he starts crying,
yeah, he gets really upset. And then in the next hour, he's like, I feel a breeze. And so I guess that gives him the strength to keep running.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he never stopped running, but, like, damn, this man. This poor man.
Yeah, those are the only 2 deviations. Otherwise, it is just, like, word for word, repeating, like, for 12 hours.
But this one doesn't annoy me as much as the other one, because at least
it's short.
People.
It's just interesting to read, and I'm also like, this would make very good horror fodder. Like, if you were trying to do something with it.
You're right. I also just love the random scorpion people. I just
it's a scorpion guy and his scorpion wife.
Like they look like Scorpia. Those are Scorpia's ancestors, obviously.
Of course. I love her.
Best character. So okay, then we meet one of my favorite characters. Not gonna lie, I love Shaduri. I keep forgetting that she has, like, such a small role, but, like, I love her because she's just this, like, random tavern keeper. Like, she's a very mysterious figure. There's not a whole lot about her. She's just, like, a goddess of, like, alcohol, and, like, that's it.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's, like, all that, like, people know about her is that she's just here, and, like, Gilgamesh meets her, and, like, that's it.
So Gilgamesh is like, tavern, I'm going there, and he starts, like, running, like, full tilt at it, and she's like, holy shit, there's some weird guy coming over here, I'm about to get murdered, and she gets on the roof, and he's like, hey, what are you doing up there?
Like, no,
can you help me?
Just help me out, bud. No, you're a freak. Get out of here!
She's like, why do you look like you've been wandering the wilderness and your heart is full of grief? And he's like, well, I've been wandering the wilderness and my heart is full of grief.
Because my boyfriend is dead! I don't know. I just like to imagine that, like, these two, like, after this whole story happened, he got back together with her and, like, they just got drunk together and, like, that was it. Yeah. They just hung out. That's just what I like that to imagine. Them.
She does seem pretty cool. Yeah, she's like, okay, thing number 1, this is a fool's errand. Thing number 2, now that I'm thinking about it, you could probably go over there and talk to that guy and get across the river.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, she points him in the right direction, and then he goes to Urshanabi, who is the boatman, and then, God, he has these, like, stone men with him that help make his boat. They make his boat go, and what does Gilgamesh do? He immediately runs to them and kills all of the stone men.
Literally, why is he like this? Gilgamesh, what is the point of this? Like, what are you trying to prove at this point? Like,
what
my
are
dude.
You doing? Why?
Like, can you chill for 1 second?
Like, if I were Urshanabi, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna help you. You killed all my friends.
All my stone dudes, I needed those! Like, what the heck?
Also, now I'm imagining all those stone dudes looking like, the stone creature from the Nutcracker, Barbie and the Nutcracker. That terrible CGI guy.
Just very lumpy dudes.
Yeah. So for some reason Urshinabe's like, fine, like go find some poles and we'll do this together. It'll be fine.
Yeah, he
like,
needs to cut down 300 trees and get 300 poles, and he's like, okay, I can do that. And I assume it takes
just
him like
does
an
it.
afternoon, because that's just the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, and like a 6 weeks journey took 3 days, of course, because every time that's how it goes. Yeah.
Okay. So specifically, the 6 weeks journey taking 3 days thing is a thing that he had with Enkidu. Yeah. Like, because they're big, strong boys. And so I feel like, even though he is still currently on his quest for Enkidu, it kind of symbolizes the fact that he can move on, if that makes sense. That, like, someone else can also do that with him,
Are you
even if
saying
he's
that
not, like, a normal guy.
Urshinabe is now his soulmate? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that life goes on. You know what I mean?
Okay, alright. That's nice.
I don't know.
I
Like,
think
even
it was
if you'll
just
never
another-
have quite what you had before, it's like, you know, there
figured
will
it
be
was just
other people
another
who you meet in your
poetic
life.
repeating thing that they were doing.
Yeah, and I figure that is it, but also it
It feels nice.
for me, that's what it symbolizes for me personally. The fact that he will be able to move on someday.
Good.
Not necessarily move on to like another lover, just move on with life.
Yeah, no, Gilgamesh will never find another lover like Enkidu. Like I said,
Yeah,
him and Chidori
and that's
are
okay.
just gonna get drunk together and like, I don't know, maybe fuck, but like probably just like get drunk together. Them and Shamat, that's it. Trio
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. And probably fuck a little bit, but like casual.
Yeah, like, listen, they're fuck buddies. Like, maybe they'll get married out as well, but like, they're also just like bros that fuck and get
Yeah.
drunk together. That's it.
I'm down.
That's their
I'm
life.
down for that for them. I want that for them.
I need this fanfic now. So yeah, Enkidu meets Utnapishtim.
So what he needed the poles for was because they have to cross the waters of death or something,
Yeah.
and you can't touch it. So he's got to use these big poles so that he doesn't have to get anywhere close to the
Yeah.
water, and he can't like grab them back or something. I don't
Yeah.
I don't understand the mechanics of this, but that's what he needed those for, and he just like leaves them in the water. So
It's fine, I guess. Urshinabe is basically like a Charon figure. Like he's a ferryman. Yeah, but this isn't like the land of the dead. This is, I guess, a land of the gods. Yeah, sure.
you just have to, like, if the river is big and scary and kills you to get to the land of the gods, like that tracks for me. I'm down for that.
Well, like, only the gods and, like, the immortals would be able to cross it, I would assume. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's why he needed those stone guys, because the waters don't kill them.
I
But,
also just...
I mean, somebody fucked that up, so...
I also just assumed that, like, all the Mesopotamian gods are, like, very goth and metal, because, like, they have this, like, moat of death that you have to cross.
Well, and even to get over there, like,
The sun
the
tunnel.
cave that he went through is referred to as the underworld. Or, like,
Yeah.
a path through the underworld. So, like, yeah.
Why
You
didn't he
gotta go through some spooky places to get
If
over
the-
here.
If that was actually the underworld, why didn't he just go in there, get Enkidu, and run away?
I don't...
You know?
Must not quite work like that. I think that the
guess
cave
not.
just, like, passes through the underworld, but you can't, like, get to the underworld proper.
Probably.
like a
So-
subway.
Yeah. It's literally the sun's subway. The sunway.
Yeah.
So they meet Utnapishtim, who is Mesopotamian Noah?
Yeah. Okay, like, the Christians, they will tell you, like, everybody's got a great flood narrative. That's our proof that it really happened.
It's true.
And-
Everybody does.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's like, I know that, but also running into it in the wild is, like, fucking crazy.
So Greeks have it too. Deucalion and Pyrrha are like the characters who go on the ark in Greek myth. And then in this it's Utnapishtim and his wife, who get on a I love their boat. It's a cube. It's just a cube.
Yeah. Big cute boat.
I love it so much. I definitely talked about this in
And
a
it's
class at
got
one
7
point.
stories because 7 is very relevant in this tale. Like,
Well, of course
it's clearly
it is.
like some sort of holy number.
It's the number 7 it's always been holy. Like,
Yeah.
Gilgamesh is proof that, like, the number 7 has always been a thing. But yeah, the fact that he had to make a specific boat that was like a cubed shape, and that's the only way that it would, like, survive, I guess.
Yeah, it has to be like a special holy boat. So, the instructions to do this are not told to him by the gods. Which god is doing the flooding? It's Enlil, right?
I believe. Yes, Enlil is the one, and then it's... Okay, I'm getting my names mixed up because I know, like, the different versions of their names. It's... So A is the one who whispers this or, like, says it, and then Utnapishtim overhears it.
Yeah, so he purposefully whispers it to the fence outside of his house. Like,
all right.
Hey,
like,
if
sure,
a human
man.
happens to overhear me telling them the instructions to survive this, then that's not my fault. Like...
What? What a king. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Because they were intending to wipe out all humans. Like, this is not happening in this story. He's just like, so this is how I became immortal?
Yeah. Utnapishtim was like, I'm gonna tell you a tale, and I basically just, like, survived a flood, and the gods were like, shit, we wanted to kill all the humans? I guess you're a god now. So, that's it. That's how he became immortal.
And so, the point of this story is him to be like, to Gilgamesh, like, so what did you do? Like, I built a big-ass boat and survived the eradication of all humans. I think you're just like some guy.
No, I'm 2/3 divine. I'm Gilgamesh. Yeah, basically, like, why would the gods, like, come, and, like, make a whole council to make you a god? Like, you know?
Yeah, there's no point to it.
That's, like, his wording.
Yeah, so, and he tells us, like, a lot about, like, the nature of life and death, and how that's the ending of all things, and it's very poetic,
It's
it's very
sweet.
existential. Yeah, I like it, it's good. The people have been thinking about this for a long time, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Since they knew that death was a thing, they were like, what is death? What's that?
But yeah, I'm very interested, very charmed once again that, like, you know, people have been having intelligent, hot takes about, like, the nature of life and death. Like,
it's so good.
For a real long time.
Yeah.
It's good.
So Utnapishtim's wife is basically like, well, let's, like, you know, help him out here, I guess.
Well, she's like,
she's the one who's like,
it's very grandma.
Yeah, so Utnapishtim's like, if you can conquer sleep, you can conquer death, so stay awake.
Yeah.
Just stay awake. And then Gilgamesh sits down and immediately falls
And he's
asleep.
like, my god, this bitch thinks he can conquer
Sleeps for
death.
7 fucking days. So Utnapishtim's wife has to make, like, a bread every single day that he's asleep, and then they finally wake him up after a week.
And he's all like, oh,
And
I
it's
was
just
about
like,
to drift off to
bitch.
sleep. And they're like, bro, we made this bread 7 days ago when you fell asleep. Look how shitty it is.
Bro, you bitch. You've been asleep this whole time.
And he's like, okay, I guess.
So basically, you suck, you couldn't conquer sleep, you gotta get out of here, but I guess we'll give you a consolation prize.
Because he did
here's,
come
like,
all this
the secret to
way.
youth.
So,
Like, it's still like, wait, you just did that. Why are you giving him, like, this?
it's because his wife has grandma energy. Like, for real. Like, for real.
Yeah, she does. And it's like, so it's not like necessarily the secret to immortality that it gives him, but it's like, it'll give him youth,
Yes,
I guess?
it's some sort of... He tells him how to get a plant from underwater that gives you, like, eternal youth, but, like, probably not eternal, just like you don't get old, but you probably still die.
I figured it just, like, turned him back into, like, a boy, and so he could, like, relive.
Maybe?
And then, like, still age.
I don't know.
Just give him a few more years or something. I did look this up, try to be like, what does he give him? Like, but I don't know.
My headcanon would be that it would stop the aging process, but you can still be killed.
Maybe. I do know that technically, as far as, like, the mythology goes, Gilgamesh kind of is deified.
Okay.
At some point.
But his friend
like,
isn't, so, like, what is that even a
no,
win?
Enkidu's still dead. He's still dead. It's fine. But yeah, so Gilgamesh has this plant. And he's like, I will see if it turns an old man into a young man again before I eat it.
Like, scientific method,
so-
like, that's not a terrible idea.
Makes sense.
But
So he brings it with him, and then he goes for a little swim for like a minute on his journey, like just gonna bathe a little bit, I guess. And he just leaves the plant, and what happens?
goddamn snakes.
Goddamn snakes. So a snake ate it, and so this is the first snake that ever shed its skin.
Oh, okay.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay, so it's revitalizing its youth. Got it.
Yeah.
So that's why snakes do that. That tracks for me. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Also, it's very interesting how, like, once again, we have, like, all these things that we associate with, like, biblical things. Like, imagine, like, this plant that he has is, like, the apple from, like, the tree.
Yeah.
But, like, the evil, like, snake gets it or something. Like, I don't know. There's, like, a whole thing going on
Yeah, as
here.
soon as there were
With, like-
snakes, I'm like, somebody's crossing over. Like, yeah, it does seem to have those vibes.
The Bible is Epic of Gilgamesh fanfiction. Like, come on. Didn't you know? Yeah, so he doesn't have the plant, and he's taken back to Uruk, and we get, literally, it's like the beginning of the epic, like, repeated, and he just goes back home,
Okay, and they
that's
talk
it. That's the end
about
of the
how
story.
good this city is, and it's specifically Gilgamesh doing it, and so maybe that is his redemption. Maybe because of all this, he is a wiser ruler.
I hope so.
Sure goddamn hope so, because, like, holy shit, this dude sucks.
Yeah, like, I love him. He's, like, my problematic fave, but also, like, goddamn, he sucks.
You don't gotta fuck everybody. Like,
No.
can you chill?
I mean, like, if you want to fuck everybody, ask for consent,
Yeah.
maybe? Because he does not. Nah, he's just like, bitch, I'm the ruler. You owe me your wife.
Which, like, apparently
No,
the gods
that's not how it
decreed that,
works.
so, like, that's, like, their problem, but also, a spoiled fucking brat. Like, look at this man.
Yeah. Other fun thing. So Gilgamesh, I think it's like an old translation that they used to call him Bilgamesh. I just love
Bill.
that fact.
Billy. Good old Billy.
Bill. The Epic of Bill. And there's also, like, another weird tablet, that's, like, it's not in here because it does not fit. It may or may not be part of this epic. It's a whole thing where Gilgamesh does go to the underworld. It's maybe before Enkidu dies, because I believe Enkidu's still alive in it, but, like, he goes to the underworld and they do some shit, and I think it's unfinished,
Okay.
as far as I'm aware.
So just, like, a
but
little spin-off.
it just doesn't fit.
Because this all
make sense.
Flows together quite consistently, so, like, it makes sense to me that it is
Yeah.
as it is. It's 12 tablets, right? 12 books?
It's 11.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think.
I was close.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't talk about that one tablet in the middle. So let's pretend it's 10. But yeah, it's a fun one. I just love this story, and it's very gay. They're soulmates.
Sometimes men just
Do
be
you-
loving each other, and good for them.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
Yeah. So, if any of you patrons want to write me a fanfic, or you could just find it for me, but, like, if you got that fanfic of Gilgamesh, Shamat, and Shaduri just, like, chilling together, I love it. That's it.
All right. Do you mind if I go into my media rec? Because I've got something. So the cadence of this, which I'm assuming that it's because it was based on this and this style of, like, poetry and stuff, reminds me a lot
Yeah.
of the tales in Watership Down. Have you ever read it?
I've heard of
Okay,
this,
Watership Down
but-
is about a bunch of rabbits who go on a trip and have a very rough time. Um,
All right.
I sort of think of it in my own brain as, like, Rabbit Lord of the Rings, where sometimes you just go on a trip and get into some wars, and and you have a prophet, and all sorts of things happen. But in that story, Rabbit Society has a great hero of legend called, oh my god, I can't pronounce it. It's like Elariah or something like that. If I watched the movie more times, I would know, like, how you're supposed to pronounce it. But he's the rabbit's trickster god, basically. because rabbits must be cunning and full of tricks so that they can survive. All
right.
Because rabbits... The lore of this book is so deep because the rabbits have their own language.
Apparently.
Rabbits can only count to 4 in the world of Watership Down.
Oh?
And so any word that means... There's one word that means both 5 and 1,000. It means anything above 4. And so that's how it will be translated, either as 5 or 1,000. And so the rabbits have 1,000 enemies, basically. That's how they describe it. And so the enemies of the rabbits are known as the Elil, the 1,000. But yeah, like, the cadence of the tales is... And, like, the way that things are described reminds me so much of epic poetry like this. It's very, very good. And, like, the way that, like, the story... Like, the movie is good, and it's a good adaptation, but it does not translate this sort of thing at all. The way that the tales of the rabbit trickster like weave in so perfectly with the story that is happening like in the present day. And like, it was one of the most satisfying books I've ever finished. Like, it's so good the way it all comes together. So I would recommend
I'm
checking
happy
that
for you.
out. It's very good.
Well, because you did a plug, now I just like want to plug like the first place that I like really got into like Gilgamesh things. I mean, like, I read the story, but before that, I saw an anime.
Oh boy.
Like, it was not an adaptation of Gilgamesh, but it was the first time like I really heard about the character of Gilgamesh. You know what I mean? So Fate Zero.
Of course.
You ever heard about that one? Yeah. That boy is not the Gilgamesh from this tale. No, not at all.
Is he big and beefy
he
at
sure
least?
is. That man is a
How
twink
could they do
compared
this?
to the Gilgamesh of this tale. Like, I mean, maybe he's not that big and beefy. Like, okay, if you've ever seen Fate Zero, Alexander the Great is very, very big and beefy, and that's how I picture Gilgamesh from this, like, the actual epic of Gilgamesh. And Gilgamesh in the anime is, like, much smaller.
Okay.
Like, I mean, he's buff, but, like, you almost never
And
see him without
isn't
his
that
armor on.
basically opposite? Like, isn't Alexander the Great, like, a little twinkish? Like...
I think I can't remember. I'm not as big of like a history person here, but like
I'm pretty sure.
you
I
probably
don't
might be
because
right.
I feel like there's some kind of scandal about how he bottoms. Like I might be making that up
It's
wholesale.
fine.
Like that might be like somebody else who I'm thinking of. But
I love that. I have no idea. I just know that like the Gilgamesh in Fate Zero is very much not this Gilgamesh. He always wears his armor. I mean, like, he's an asshole, but he's like, he just thinks everyone's beneath him. He's also like a blonde white boy. It's an anime. It sure is an anime.
Yeah. Anime.
Anime where, you know, everybody kind of looks kind of white.
Well, I mean,
but
it's because if someone is your own race, then in a simplified cartoon style, you don't give them any exaggerated racial features. And so we interpret a person without racial features as white, whereas someone who's Japanese would interpret someone without racial features as Japanese.
Interesting. I just mean, like, a lot of the characters, like, don't have Japanese colored hair.
Right. Well, yes.
you know, they're like, they're blonde or they're ginger, and it's just like very weird. Yeah. But Fate Zero is a fun show because like they bring in characters of legend. There's King Arthur, there's Alexander the Great, there's Gilgamesh, there's God, I'm trying to think of some others. Oh, the fun thing though is like they have to summon the characters, and what they use to summon Gilgamesh is the snake skin. Of
That's
the
fun.
first snake that ever shed its skin. And like when I like after I read the tale and then I rewatched it, I'm like, wait, that's so good. I love that. Good shit. Yeah, I don't know. I love the show. It's very graphic, it's very violent, but Good shit. Actually, you know what? Maybe Ray, you'd like it because there is some stuff in it that has some horror vibes.
Oh, well, I never said I like horror. I just happen to think about it all the time right now because of my current hyperfixation.
Okay, one of the people in it is like Bluebeard.
Oh god. I really need to watch Our Flag Meets Death.
There is some
That's Blackbeard, but sorry.
not Blackbeard. Not Blackbeard, my dude. Not a pirate.
Oh, who's Bluebeard?
He a crazy dude. There's some people sacrifice. There is some child murder.
Boy.
Anyway, trigger warning, content warning. Fate Zero is good, but also, like, very dark. I don't know. Anime gore is different. Also, actually, anime gore kind of creeps me out a little bit more than real people gore,
fascinating.
if I'm being honest.
For me, it really
It just
depends.
seems, like, very unreal.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
The more weird and unreal it is, the more I can do with it. Like, I can almost watch Hellsing because it's, like, so fucked up and weird.
No, it's not. I can't remember which is the one. It was a different vampire one that I was trying to watch. Castlevania that somebody tried to introduce me to, and I was,
Castlevania's
like,
so good.
could not watch.
But yeah.
I could not watch after like 5 minutes of it because I was like, okay, that's a lot of gore.
Yeah, that's the sort
I'm
that
done.
makes me a little upset, but also if it's like in an AMV format, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Like, I can get pumped by like that weird kind of violence and gore, but like, I can't watch a horror film at all. So I'm strange.
Yeah. Anyway, we are so off topic.
Yeah, and we've been recording for so long, and this is a
Fun
bonus
time.
episode. We gotta go.
It's fine. We should just do a weird bonus episode where we talk about animes that we like or something. Let us know if you want some bonus content that has nothing to do with like anything mythology related. Because
I'm sure we'll have a
go
few
off,
at some
apparently.
point.
Yeah, we'll just go off. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of an outro for this. I guess, you know, like, don't fuck all, like, the women in the village. Just, like, go try to find the meaning of life or something. Like, you know?
Hold hands with your boyfriend.
Immortal, but yes, hold hands with your boyfriend, who, like, maybe is a furry. We support you. Good night.
Bye!
Dave X Media.